The Chinese economy is slowing as it adjusts to a zero-COVID policy and weakening global demand. China's official growth numbers reveal that the country's GDP growth rate dropped to 0.4% in the second quarter of 2022, before rising to 3.9% in the third quarter of 2022, and only to drop again to 2.9% in the fourth quarter. A worldwide economic downturn is more likely if the world's second-largest economy continues to shrink. Despite officials' attempts to downplay the significance of attaining the target, Beijing's yearly growth goal of 5.5% is now unattainable. China just escaped a decline in the most recent April-June quarter. For this year, zero growth is forecast by some economists. Despite not having significant inflation like the United States and the United Kingdom, the world's factory is having trouble finding buyers for its wares both at home and abroad. Growth is being stifled by trade conflicts between China and big economies like the United States. And with its decline versus the US dollar, the yuan is set to experience its worst year in decades. Weak currencies scare off investors and increase market volatility. It also affects the government's capacity to stimulate the economy by printing money. So, what went wrong, exactly? Watch this video on the unique economics to find out. In the wake of COVID outbreaks in multiple cities, particularly major industrial centers like Shenzhen and Tianjin, the economy has been negatively impacted across many sectors. Also, consumers are cutting back on discretionary spending, putting pressure on essential services such as food and beverage production, retail, and travel. The National Bureau of Statistics reports that manufacturing activity picked up again in September. An increase in public spending on infrastructure may account for the upturn. After 2 months of stagnation, production finally picked up speed. As a result, it has caused some anxiety, especially because a private poll found that manufacturing activity dropped in September due to a decline in demand that impacted production, new orders, and job creation. Reduced demand in countries like the United States can be attributed to factors such as higher interest rates, inflation, and the conflict in Ukraine. Though Beijing might do more to promote the economy, experts think that doing so would be counterproductive until the zero-COVID period ends. To pour additional money into their economy raises the question of whether it is profitable if businesses cannot develop and individuals cannot spend it. Beijing has intervened, announcing in August a plan to invest 1 trillion yuan, which is as much as $203 billion small enterprises, infrastructure, and real estate. It is critical that government authorities increase spending to achieve economic goals and provide new employment opportunities. More money is being put into infrastructure, it's easier to get a loan for a house or a business, and local governments and towns are getting tax advantages. As economic downturns go, this one has been met with a very muted response from the government. Undoubtedly, slowing growth has weak real estate activity and general lack of confidence in the property sector. A third of China's gross domestic product is generated by the real estate and related industries, therefore this has had a major effect on the economy. When consumers lose faith in the property market, it raises concerns about the economy as a whole. Uncertainty about whether or not their homes would ever be completed has led some buyers to refuse to make mortgage payments on incomplete properties. When the number of people looking to buy new homes decreases, fewer resources will be required to supply the industry from outside. Despite Beijing's best attempts to prop up the housing market, prices in dozens of cities across China have plunged by over 20% this year. Analysts agree that the government must do more to alleviate the strain on property developers and revive the real estate market. The effects of extreme weather on China's economy are long-lasting. Chongqing, in the Central Belt, and the province of Sichuan, in the south, experienced a severe heatwave and drought in August. The rising demand for air conditioners strained the electricity network in a region that relies almost exclusively on hydropower. The likes of Apple's Foxconn and Tesla's Gigafactory have to reduce staff or shut down entirely as a result. Iron and steel industry revenues in China dropped by almost 80% in the first 7 months of 2022, according to data from the country's statistical bureau. Eventually, China contributed tens of billions of dollars to bail out the oil sector and the agricultural sector. The government of China has decided to crack down on the country's IT giants. 2 years into their stay, China's internet giants have not been a positive influence. Both Tencent and Alibaba had significant declines in sales during the most recent quarter, with Tencent's earnings decreasing by 50% and Alibaba's net income decreasing by 50%. 1 in 5 people between the ages of 16 and 24 is unemployed due to the tens of thousands of young workers who have been laid off. This could have negative effects on China's GDP and productivity in the long run. As Mr. Xi's hold on power increases, there has been a noticeable shift in Beijing, where investors have seen that some of the country's most successful private enterprises are under heightened scrutiny. State-owned firms appear to be gaining favor, but foreign investors are pulling their money out. SoftBank of Japan withdrew a huge chunk of money from Alibaba, while Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway is selling its interest in electric vehicle company BYD. In the second half of 2018, Tencent withdrew about $7 billion from its investments. The U.S. is also taking a hard line against Chinese firms trading on the NYSE. S&P Global Ratings recently released a note stating, some investment decisions are being postponed, and some foreign corporations are seeking to expand output in other countries. China's economic success in previous decades is in jeopardy, but the world has become used to the reality that Beijing isn't as open for business as it once was. Give this unique video a thumbs up, comment on it, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.